and it's kind of crazy that it's happened. Like, because when my mom passed, I thought, okay, I've just literally like dealt with my dad losing him, so I feel like it's one grief after the other. Like, I don't even have time to process it, but I feel like now, I feel like it's just what, yeah, it's just it was just not that it was meant to be, but it's just yeah, it was just their time, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Question, like, that's the same thing. The reasons, maybe I didn't pray enough, maybe I wasn't in church enough, maybe I wasn't serious with God enough, all of these different things I was saying. And we knew my mum was sick from, when was it? So she passed in June. So she was like April.
Yeah.
And then I followed her to the doctors and they were like, she was like, but she's got a cyst, move it. Followed her to the doctors and they said, no, it's not cyst, it's cancer. Not only is it cancer, it's stage 4. And yeah, like she's only got, I don't remember them saying she's only got a little while to live, but apparently that's what they said. But I don't know if it was new, just like doesn't even register.
Yeah.
And at the time, I think my faith was in that place, church all the time. So I know God's gonna do it. Like, how can He not? Like, this is why I go to church. No, like I go to church so that when things happen, He's gonna make sure everything's all right. So I think I didn't really listen to what the doctors were saying. I didn't take it seriously enough. I can't explain it. She'll be fine. Like, she'll be fine. And then she traveled to a place called Honduras to
Yeah.
get like healing. Like, I don't know if you heard of, like,
yeah, I've heard of him.
Huh?
I've heard of Dr. Sebi.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
I did a documentary about 1985, and then you know what, they killed him.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I've heard of was he like a spiritual healer?
I don't something it's I don't know, it's like I don't know, it's like I don't really know too much about him. I kind of only knew from like my mum. So at the time I was kind of telling her I'll go then, but she got saved and I was like, yeah, come to church. But obviously when you're on your, like, when you feel like you might die, I guess you want to try everything because you just want to get married that year, July. So I think she just wanted to be okay. So she went there, but as far progressed the place, and like I feel like more for people who are maybe in stage 1.
Oh, okay.
Stage 2 at most, but she's all like, she had, her stomach was like big, like a pregnant woman with fluid from like the cancer and stuff. So she needed actual medical like attention and stuff. So when she got there, stuff that they had like hot baths and like these steam stuff, and she just, and the flight already took its toll on her body. So they kind of said to her that there's nothing they can do for her, which I think probably just crushed her spirit. And like, she really thought that going there would help. So on her way back, she's gonna be fine. But on her way back, she died in Jamaica. So she went through Jamaica to get back, and then she passed there. And yeah, the same sort of thing of like processing that was, I don't even know how I did, to be honest. I don't know how exactly I processed everything, because at the time I was just thinking, this can't be real. Like, you know, I've seen it in movies and stuff, but I never had anyone close to me die. So I was like, yeah, that was probably, the whole.
Yeah.
What year was that in?
2015.
Mum literally passed away 12 days after 8th of June on the same year. Yeah. Crazy.
The 8th of June? No, it might have been the 6th. It was either the 6th. No, it was the 6th. I think it was the 6th in Jamaica, 7th here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, same year. So it was like a day apart.
Yeah, 2015, it seems like it's been that kind of, I won't say the year where things changed for us, but yeah, the year where like we literally lost our mums, like, and I don't know, it's weird because I always feel like, nah, this can never be me, not in an arrogant way, but I just thought, you know, like, I mean, I hadn't experienced grief close to home like that, but I always thought like, okay, you know, losing someone's probably something I'm gonna do when I get older. I never would have thought like, I would, yeah, I don't know, I would lose my mum. And I think losing my mum was such a surprise because like she's always been like a fighter in terms of how she is. Like she had sickle cell, so I've kind of seen
Okay.
her been in pain, always going in and out of hospital. But she's always, when you look at her, she just looks fine. She doesn't look like she's someone who's suffering. And that's the thing with sickle cell. It's not a thing where like you can literally tell someone who has sickle cell unless they tell you. Do you know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
not that kind of illness. But yeah, she just always seems. So that's why I always thought, okay, cool. She's probably gonna be here for a time. And even then, I thought sickle cell was. I didn't even think it was something serious because she always seemed fine.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think it was afterwards I kind of learned, okay, like this is with sickle cell, like, you have what they call it, like the different like genotypes. Obviously, she's has sickle cell, so me and my siblings, we've got the trait. We don't have it, but it's like, so when it comes to like settling down, that kind of stuff, you got to check with the person, so you make sure you're not carrying you're not kind of procreating with someone who has the either sickle cell or the trait, because that can then potentially lead to your child having sickle cell. Yeah, so all those things. But yeah, I just thought, yeah, listen, mum's always gonna be cool, man. And like, yeah, it was mad because I remember 2 weeks before I spoke to her and I was like, yeah, everything's good over here in London, we're good, like, yeah, just enjoy yourself. And then 2 weeks after, yeah, she's like, oh yeah, she's gone. And I was like, well, this is a bit mad. That was scary times, man, because I was like, again, I didn't know I didn't know that was grief. I didn't feel like I could express it, or I just felt like I was damned. Why is this happening to me? Like I feel like this isn't how things are supposed to go. But again, it's that kind of, when you see life from through like a certain lens, you think, nah, everything's gonna be smooth. I'm gonna live to a full life, and my mom's gonna live to a full life, and then losing both parents after years, like, yo, is that a test? Maybe I'm being tested or something. Maybe I don't know. It's just like yeah, I just didn't know what it was. I just felt like this is just too mad right now. Like, and there's no one else that I know going through it. So as much as like I had friends who were like there to support, but you lot don't understand this. Right? Like, now, some had lost one parent, and I'm not saying that they weren't there to support, but I just feel like no one knows what this is, and then couple of months a year after I met Ben, I was like, oh, okay, someone else who kind of understands it. But not to say that I crave that. Oh, I need someone who's been through loss as well. But it helps because
Yeah.
you can relate to certain things, and I don't know. I kind of felt like, oh, like, why is it that, whenever I'm hearing people complain about different things, that, oh yeah, I'm like, bro, you still got both parents. I know, like, obviously people have different relationships, but yeah, oh, I don't like my mom right now. I don't like my friend. I'm like, listen, I don't want to judge, but I'm just saying, look, you've got both parents. That's what I'm saying, and I'm sure I'm sure it's not that bad. Do you know what I mean?
think I was worse. Like when it first happened, I used to think like people will come and complain to me about their parents, and I'll be like, "You're being serious." Like I'm like, "Listen, your mom is living." I always say that. I'm like, "Oh, like if my friend, mom, like you only have one mom. You don't know what's gonna happen. There's no one that can replace your mom." I think they kind of be like, "All right, Cass," but I feel like everyone's problem seemed like it wasn't a problem to me anymore. It was like, why are you complaining about this small thing? Like that's how I used to feel like all the time. I'll be like, people be complaining about their girlfriend. I'll be like, why are you complaining about that? Your mum and dad are still here. Be happy, okay? That's nice.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But obviously, like, yeah, that's the thing. You realize, listen, you appreciate things a lot more. Like, you appreciate people a lot more. And I wasn't never like, someone who's always been, oh, not appreciative. But yeah, you just learn to appreciate. And I would say, and I think you can probably maybe relate. Like, I would say it for me, not to say that I was living crazy before that, but I was like, nah, this is testing me. This is testing me. But also, okay, it's like this. Like, I've gone through the worst that I didn't think I'll ever go through. But at the same time, I've got nothing to lose now, in the sense where anything that I want to do, I should just do it now. It doesn't mean that it's gonna happen, but it's like the initial fear of, oh, I don't know if I can. Like, okay, cool. What's the worst that can happen? You've gone through the worst that can happen in arguably in your life, innit? Do you know what I mean? So it's like anything now is like it's nothing. It's nothing. Like, Like, although I say that, but I still have fears. But it's like that kind of energy. Like, no, you know what? Yeah, I want to do that. I can do it. Do you know what I mean? You had a similar thing where like, okay, I can live life like out of the box now. Do you know what I mean? Like, how was that for you? Did you feel like that helped you through your through the grief, or did you just feel like, yeah, you've always been confident in terms of like coming out of your comfort zone?
No, I wasn't confident at all before. I think I was so comfortable. Like how my life was. I was comfortable with how my life was. I was in like a bubble. Before my mum passed, I was in this bubble of, like I said, I would be in church and I pray and everything's okay and my family's okay, and like it was kind of, that's how I kind of saw the world. Like, yeah, I'm doing the right thing. I'm right. And I don't know, I can't really explain it, but that's how I kind of saw things. And then when my mum passed, I was like life is so short. And like, the thing is, when my mum was alive, like she was, what's the word for my mum? she was like, I don't even know how to explain. Like she just went wherever the wind blew. She just didn't care. Like she was just, I don't know if you describe it as like she was like so hippie. Like she was like, like she
Free
smoked weed.
spirit.
Yeah, free spirit. Like she just was so. And I used to be like, can she just be an adult? Can she be a parent? Can she stop acting like a child? That's how I used to feel about my mum. And like she would like run up debts and like get evicted and then move. Like she just was like that. But she'd go on holidays and she'd have fun and she was just carefree. That's how my mum was. And I used to always be like, she needs to be more a mom, she's an adult, like she's over 50, like can she be more responsible? But then when she passed, I was like, obviously I'm not gonna run up debts and all that stuff, but it made me think that imagine she just spent the last like 10 years of her life trying to pay off debt, taking life too seriously, like, and then she just died. Traveled the world, she went on so many holidays, she just enjoyed her life. And I think when she passed, that's what I was like, I want to take from her. I want to have that childlike attitude, and I just want to enjoy my life because you have one. And I don't say that in the sense of like being wild, but just in the sense of traveling, in the sense of doing whatever I want to do. If I want to do something, not letting it hold me back, not letting, like, oh yeah, but what ifs, like. And that's when I climbed the mountain for the first time, and when she passed. And it was like the day I climbed the mountain, and then the morning after, it was her funeral. So it was like, that was, I don't know, my thing of before she passed, she used to be like, my mom never used to complete anything. So she'd start like a job, then she'd quit the job. She'd start at a course, then she'd quit the course. And I kind of was following suit. So I kind of was the same. Like I start something, like the only thing I was consistent in was church. And then I remember she was like, us, we never finish anything. And I was like, no, I'm not. So when she passed, that's what kept ringing in my head. Us, we never finish anything. Us, we never finish. And I was like, no, I'm going to do stuff, and I'm going to finish it. And the mountain was my first thing. But that was a really stupid idea because I'd never climbed the mountain before. Hadn't worked out. I'd been eating Nando's. And yeah, I just knew I liked to walk. So I thought, I like to walk though. So maybe it'll be easy. But it was really hard, but I did it. So
what mountain was it?
Ben Nevis in Scotland. So it's like a 3-day hike. It's the highest peak in Europe. So like a 3-day hike and then up the mountain and then down the mountain.
3 days. So it took you 3 days to climb. No, it's 3 days and then an extra day to climb up and down the mountain.
Yeah. So it was like you did 3 days, but it wasn't like 3 days by itself. 3 days that you do, 1 day go to bed, 2 days.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And then on the last day, you do the ascent of the mountain.
That must. How long did that take you? I was
work out.
I was trying to. I can't even remember. I think it was like it's like 6 hours up the mountain.
6 hours.
And then it's like half the time back down, maybe even quicker.
Yeah, that's mad. 6 hours. Like,
I did another mountain after that. That was like the first initial one.
Ben Nevis, and what was the second one you did? Second mountain.
I wish I could remember. It's gone from my mind. It's a volcano. It's in Italy. Like I knew you were gonna ask me that. And I was trying to think.
Is it called Swiss Alps?
No.
Oh.
Mount. That's what it's called. Yeah.
What's it
That
called?
one was worse, but I started that one halfway up. So they got halfway up, and then they was like, "Oh, you can go. You know, if we met them halfway." And then I was like, "No." Then they was like, "Go on, meet Carl." And I was like, "Okay." And that was stupid. I nearly died. I thought pushed me up that mountain. I feel like I was getting climate. What's it called? What do they call it?
What's it called?
I can't remember the name.
Frostbite? No, I don't know. Was it doing?
No, it wasn't that cold. It's like something you get higher, the altitude gets something like it gets thinner. So you're
is it when you get not seasick, but I don't know. I think I know what you're talking about, but I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know the term. It is basically like that. Push me up. The last little bit of it, boy, because I was and I didn't get ready for it. And then but halfway up was basically the same as Ben Nevis. It was it's like double the size or something.
Yeah, that's an extreme level of again at the comfort zone. But I don't even think I can even. Well, I say that, but I don't think I can even do mountain climbing for 6 hours, let alone like 6 minutes or an hour. That's a bit, but I guess it's good to have that kind of, just I've just been there, I've done it, and it's one for the record books. Do you know what I mean? Like, and like it's but was I was gonna ask as well, was the TED Talk another thing you wanted to do as a result of coming at comfort zone, or was that something you always planned before your mum's passing?
No, this is all after because do you know what it is? I always wanted to but I started I went to college and then I went to university for like a year. I didn't complete my course, but I was doing television and film. Yeah. So my thing was to always be like behind the camera.
Oh, okay.
So I never ever wanted to be in front of a camera necessarily, but I had, like if you meet someone, like anyone that would meet would be like, oh, Cassandra, like they know I'm like that. Like, oh, she's so creative. They would say I should be in front of the camera, but I was so shy. And it wasn't shy. It was more like, I don't know. It was like a fear of like, oh, what people would think and all that stuff. So when I met Carl was very much in front of the camera.
Yeah.
He was that person. And I just supported. Like I'll just stand and be like, yeah. And I didn't mind. I loved being at the side. I didn't think, oh yeah, one day like I'd be in front of the camera, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And then when my mum, then I started to do like little videos on Instagram. Encouragements. So I led the girls in my church. So I was very comfortable. Like I said, I was very comfortable doing that, like leading girls in my church. And then I was like, oh, let me do it on Instagram and see how it goes. And then I thought, like in my heart, I was always like, I would love a YouTube channel. I would love to do stuff more forward facing, but it probably won't happen. So I never really spoke it to anybody. Yeah. And then, and I was in like a girls singing group. But again, it was always something that was with people and I was always more like shy and stuff like that. So when my mum passed, I was like, yeah, like this is like I've got to, like I said, go for everything. And then I got married and the wedding went viral. So when the wedding went viral, I went from like 800 followers to 10,000. And it was like, this is it was like, like when I felt like God just gave me a platform.
Yeah.
Like I'd always wanted one and then he just gave it to me then. And I just felt like it was such wrong timing. I was like I haven't got anything to say because I'm still grieving. I was very much grieving. It had only been a year. And I think the first year, I don't know for you guys, but I feel like the first year it was like, it wasn't real properly yet. And I don't know if I grieved right. I didn't allow myself to be sad that much. I didn't allow myself, I just tried to hide it from the world, if that makes sense. So I would be like, yeah, I'm great and I'm good. But I would be dying inside. So by the time the first year came around, it's like it hit me that my mum's gone. She's not coming back. And so that's where the TED Talk kind of came from, that like, oh, I've always wanted to speak. I've always wanted to share. And I applied. I didn't think I was going to get it. I remember I wrote like on Twitter, like maybe like 6 months before, one day I'll do a TEDx talk, and then 6 months later, I applied and I got it, and I was like, yes.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But are you sort of person when some people have different methods when they want to achieve something. So some people tend to write it down, say one day I'm going to do this, or some people they don't write it down. Are you sort of person you need to like have that kind of written manifestation to say, yeah, look, so you can kind of like write it down, and then when you do it, you can kind of see, right, I wrote this down like X amount of years ago, and look what I've done it now. Like, do you like journal those sort of things, or was it just a thing you just like tweeted one day randomly?
I journal now. I didn't before. So I think I just, like when you see people do that, like I'll see people, one day I think I saw like Crept from Crept and Code and be like, one day I'm going to earn a dessert shop. And then he showed that, oh, look, so I was like, I'm going to do that more. Like, I'm just going to start saying of what I want to do. And I just did it. And then I applied. I even forgot. Someone showed me that I wrote it. And I was like, oh my gosh, I did, didn't I? Yeah.
Would you say Imposter Syndrome played a bit of a role of you starting a YouTube channel even though it was a year, would you say Imposter Syndrome kind of and not wanting to start that YouTube channel?
I still feel like Imposter Syndrome plays a role. I don't know. I just have to, like, what's the word? Like, feel the fear and do it anyway. I feel like Imposter Syndrome's I read a book about it. Felt like it was really like trying to overtake my life, if that makes sense. I'd always be like, oh no, I can't. Oh no, but I can't. Oh no, it's because it's me. Oh no, I don't deserve to be in this room. Or they always say that about people that go viral, in a way, because of how fast it happens. It almost feels like you shouldn't be there, because it's like, and then obviously my one was from a wedding, so it was like, when people are like, what do you do? And I'm like, I felt like I didn't have anything to say. Whereas other people were like, yes, I'm this person, and I'd just be like, so Imposter Syndrome definitely played a big part.
That's fine. I think because kind of similar with obviously similar when it came to starting the podcast. I wasn't sure if I would be the right person for this, because I don't have the answers to grief for anyone, because it's something that I'm still learning as I go along. And obviously I'm not going to have the answers 6 years later, because I think we kind of started this 6 years after 2015, because it was a bit too early, because I was still going through the experience. It wasn't really the right timing. Let me go out there with Jermaine and share our story and see if anyone could relate as well.
Yeah.
And I think it will come. Those people will gravitate to you naturally. And so
like
I've learned through doing all that I do, that especially sharing your truth, I think that's one thing I do a lot of, and I've done a lot since I don't know, getting a platform on Instagram and having followers and stuff. I feel like the people, like you said, the right people will gravitate towards it, and I don't think there's ever a right time. Like, you're never a scholar. I don't know. You just, it's like you learn as you go and you share as you go along. Like, I've heard people that have written books and been like, there's parts in the book that don't make no sense of what they said, maybe around marriage or raising children, and then 10 years later something different happened, but it's still relevant at a period of time or for a person. So yeah, I think whatever it is, you should still share and just do regardless.
Yeah, that and I think that's true. Even with someone like you, because it's funny you say that you never thought you would be comfortable in front of the camera, but it seems like you're just a natural in the camera. So I feel like you've just been, it's like second nature. Obviously, maybe that's something you kind of developed, or I don't know. Like, would you say it's something you've managed to just like get better at over time?
I think it was me. I think it's naturally been me. And I think I was just, it's imposter syndrome and stuff that had me feeling like I shouldn't. or I don't deserve to do it, or I'm not good enough. But I feel like everyone says, oh, you just, but to me, in my head, as I said, even when I was doing my TEDx talk, for example, when I was doing it, in my head, my thoughts were going 10 miles an hour. I was so scared, like I nearly vomited before I went on. And to me, it sounded like I was just talking gibberish. So when I got off, I was like, that was so rubbish. Like, that's how I felt. And then when I heard it back, I was like, oh, the people can't even hear my thoughts. Like, they really can't. It's just me that can hear that rubbish that's going through my head. But I was like, oh my God, I spoke eloquently. And I think it was those things that made me realize, oh no, you can do, like when I would hear myself back and be like, that's good, that was good. Like, yeah, well done. And then it would kind of encourage me to keep going. And other people as well, people being like, thank you. You know, when you share something and sometimes you think, what the heck did I just say? And then someone says to you, that changed my life, or that's feeling, and especially when it comes to these topics, like you could literally be saving someone's, like, grief is a lot. Like the feeling, like how it feels when you're going through grief. It feels like sometimes you feel like, oh, maybe I can't get through this. This is too much. And like you said, people don't understand what I'm feeling. A lot of people don't get it, especially if they haven't gone through it. So I feel like when people hear something like this, whether or not it's perfect, it's like they just still resonate with it. And it's like, thank you. Like, so all of those things where it's like, I nearly killed myself, Cass, and listening to your TED talk, I didn't. It's like, why would I not ever do that? Even if I'm scared. Like, why wouldn't I share? I have to share. That's how I always feel when it comes to it.
Yeah, I think that's a powerful thing. And sometimes we're all guilty with anything, any big thing. There's always going to be like a balanced level of nerves, but sometimes it's like trying to make sure it's not too much, and it's, you're not overthinking. Because I think with me, my issue sometimes is, and I think I'm going to bring this up in my therapy, like, is the overthinking too much. Sometimes little things, and sometimes like I'm like, yeah, this is gonna be great, but then, oh well, what if this doesn't? What if this happens? That happens? You know, just so many different things. And like what we Ben said, like I had the same thing when we started the podcast. I'm like, okay, I'm not gonna lie, I don't know if people are gonna want to listen to grief, because it's like it's not a popular topic. You know what I mean? I don't know what people can kind of I don't know, like I would say get from it. I don't know. I just feel like grief is something that it's quite sensitive, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? So I don't. How can I sustain this in a podcast? Like, what people gonna get from this? But then we just thought, you know what? Like, we have to just start. At the end of the day, it's our experience, and all we can do is share our experience. And we're not out here saying we're like experts in this, or this is how you must grieve. You know, this follow these steps step by step. But we're just literally just like, yeah, sharing our story. And to our surprise, literally, there was so much like support from people. I would say we were in the grief community as well, and through it, we've met so many people that we've had on a podcast, like people who are just literally showing us mad love, and we're thinking that, oh, this is we didn't really expect this, innit? And I know it's the cliche thing, but we genuinely didn't expect it. Like,
I think that's the beauty of it, though. I think when you don't expect it and then it happens, and like you're saying, like, you might not be an expert, but you can't. Can you be an expert in grief? I don't know. Different.
I don't think you can, to be honest. No.
Huh?
I don't think you can really be an expert, because grief is very universal, so it can't just be to death. It can be to losing a job or dog or business. So I don't know if there is an expert in grief, then what did you mean? I think it paused there a bit.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Can you hear me? Can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah.
Yeah. No.
I heard what you were saying. It's saying about, yeah. I just think even what you're saying now. I would meet the year before my mum died. My friend's mum died of the exact same cancer. So she had gone through it a year before me, and I remember going to like her mum dying, and then feeling so sorry for her, going to the hospital, going to like the funeral and everything, and then maybe like say a month after the funeral, I was like, yeah, well, she, you know, it's happened, and like I'm sure she'll just get on with it. Like I didn't understand the fact that, you know, like you'll hear someone talk about, oh yeah, 6 years later, and someone would probably be thinking, oh, but it's 6 whole years. But I know, to me personally, that it's only got harder as the years have gone by. The first year probably was the easiest in terms of understanding that she was gone. And then as time has gone by, the 6th year is like, oh my God, she's really not here for certain experiences. So I don't know. I feel like, yeah, everyone is literally so different. I was talking to some ladies who have lost children. I was hosting an event, and then the lady was like, she hates when people say you're strong. But I liked when people said I was strong. So it was just like, this is with grief, you can't put your, like, yeah, you can have your journey and then someone else is going to have their journey. And sometimes, and a lot of times, which is good, you can find similarities. But yeah, I don't know. I don't think you can be an expert as such.